Hello, everyone. This is Eric from Etacude, and this is my first live stream from home in a long time. I'm I'm using this mic, so let me know if it's working or if there's still some static, so that I know that I should take it out. Okay, yeah. I usually start a couple of minutes early just to get settled and start talking. Yeah, so this is the first time in a month or two that I've been streaming from home. I'm back home after 2 weeks in the Philippines, and last week I went and did a winter camp um, in South Korea for a week with elementary school students. And I'm finally home, and it's such a good feeling. I think, hi, already two people here. Who's here? Say hi so I can see live messages or messages. Yeah, so I'm finally home from uh, vacation and also weeks of work. It's good to be finally be back home. You know, where you're comfortable and you've got everything you need, and you can start to build up a routine again. So yeah, for 2 weeks I've been touring. I've been in the Philippines, and it was fantastic. I think it's so important for teachers to, when they have a chance to take a break and to relax. And then as soon as I got back last week, I did a live stream where I was right before I started the winter camp. And now, and it went by like this, you know, because you're working from 9 a.m. in the morning until 9 p.m. at night, and the days just fly by. And finally came back home Friday evening. Yesterday, I just relaxed. I got a haircut. What do you guys think? I like this shorter hair, the sporty hair. Say hi if you're here, so that I can see who's here. Yeah, so I got a haircut and did some laundry. You know, just trying to get back to normal. And today, I actually did something very fun. A friend of mine said they're coming to my town, to Daegu, to do zip lining. And I thought, yeah, why not? I was just resting last night anyway. So today, I picked up my friend and his girlfriend at the bus station. We had lunch, and we drove to Daegu Forest. Hi, Mom. Raining and very windy. Yeah, over here it's cool. It's not that cold. I think in the next couple of weeks it might start to get warmer. But yeah, I don't mind being back in the cold. I miss the warmth and the heat in the Philippines. But you know what? While I'm here, I'm used to the cold by now. It should be okay. So yeah, today went zip lining with my friend, and it was such a fun experience. It was very quiet because it's still cold, and we went up and did the zip lining. It was adventurous, but it was also kind of exhausting because it's difficult. You know, you sometimes you see other people doing things, like you see kids doing zip lining or doing something difficult, and you think, oh well, I can do that. And then actually you go up, you climb up, and you try and do all those jumps and things, and you realize, wow, you know what? It's actually a little bit more difficult than it seems. But yeah, I'm back home, and I'm very excited to be back home. Before I share my camp experience and some of the lessons that I've learned as a teacher at the camp, I'd like to quickly talk about why I'm so excited to be back home. So I am a creature of routine. I love doing the same things over and over again. And now that I'm back home for a month before classes start, I'm going to set myself a routine to work really hard. I've had vacation, I've worked, now I've got to work on giving back better videos. And you know, there are so many topics that I could do. Oh, and by the way, is the audio okay? Because I'm using the same microphone, and when I used it with the video, it looked okay. But is the sound okay? Otherwise, I have to take it out. Okay, so I'm a creature of routine, and I like doing things over and over again. So I've got a plan for the next month to create some really good content. There are so many things I could have talked about: online teaching, ESL. But I think the thing that I found most valuable is when I got information that helped me as a new teacher control the classroom, and also situations that happen in the classroom, how to deal with it, and why experienced teachers do things a certain way. So I say so a lot. And also a lot. So I need to cut those out. I'm going to make a series of videos, 100 videos, based solely on situations in the classroom. I think it's going to be really good because a lot of the comments I've been receiving on my YouTube and on Facebook are new teachers that come in and say, listen, this really helped me, what you talked about. And I feel if I can help teachers that are new to teaching, help them settle in and understand what is expected of them and how they can handle these difficult situations in the classroom, I feel that I would have contributed more. So that's where I'm going to focus for the next month. Every morning, going to hit the gym, go to school, because at the university, we've got an office, and next to the office, there are some nice rooms. So my plan is to work out in the morning to get fit again, because in the Philippines, I just ate so much Western food. And then I came back and I was at the camp, and at the camp, they feed you really well, and I ate lots of snacks. So now I need to get back in shape. And then I'm also going to go to the gym in the morning, and in the afternoon, I'm going to go to the university, eat lunch, and just spend the rest of the day working on this content, shooting these videos. I plan to have them out by the end of February, so I can start putting them out and maybe, just put it in a way that makes it very digestible for normal teachers. And in between, I'll still do my normal videos. Every Wednesday, I plan on making a video on teaching activities or some ideas for the classroom. I've got 5 I'm going to work on before I start releasing this series. So you can look forward to that at the end of February. Yeah, guys, how are you doing, by the way? I know I should have started off with that. I think the most important thing is to ask teachers, what do they actually want? And you, as the viewer, what would you like to see more of? So from next week, I will put a post out and I will say, okay, listen, what questions do you have? What do you struggle with? If I can give any advice, or I can do some research and give you some proper feedback to any issues you might have, that would make me really happy. So from next week, I'm just going to ask you, what do you want to hear? What do you need? And I'm going to use that for my live streams. Okay, now back to the camp. I think it's so important for teachers to go out into the field, into the classroom, and work with different students. When you work at a school, your students get used to you and they're used to a certain environment of teaching. But if you get the opportunity to go to a camp or a different school or different students and you get to work with them, you're going to improve as a teacher, because there's no place to hide. If you're in the classroom, you're standing in front of your students and there's no place to hide from them. They're going to show what your weaknesses are. They're going to show your anxieties. They're going to show what your strengths are. And the students will find out, how they can test you and how they can get away with things. So it's up to you to improve. So I would encourage everyone, if you've got the opportunity, try and go to different places and practice your teaching, because yes, it may be tough. Yes, you are going out of your comfort zone, but no growth happens when you're in comfort. Growth only happens when you step out of these boundaries that you've created for yourself and you explore new environments. It sounds kind of meta, but I'm sure you get where I'm coming from. You have to test yourselves in new waters, right? It's that saying of like, a calm sea never made a good captain or a sailor. So it's like that. So even for myself, I'm doing these every winter, every summer. I'm doing these summer and winter camps with new students where I get the opportunity to learn from other teachers. I can see how they do things and start implementing and stealing some of their ideas and techniques. And it's something that we don't find enough in education, because when teachers start to teach, they try. We're so afraid that we're doing the wrong thing that we put this wall around us that we don't want anyone else to see our practice, because maybe we're doing something wrong. Maybe that we someone might give you some harsh criticism, and we don't want to feel that. That's why a lot of teachers struggle with open classes, because they feel like they're being watched, they're being judged, and no person likes being judged like that. But honestly, we need that. We need to go through that to improve. Also, another thing, the problem with a lot of these teachers that come out and help us, and a lot of these educational researchers, is that they are not in the field. Maybe they were teachers, maybe they focus solely on academics, but when you're not in the field, you don't see what's going on and you don't learn from other teachers. So that's why putting yourself in a new situation is such a valuable experience. I would say, and I'm going to test myself a little bit more as soon as I've finished this series I want to create, that I think will be very beneficial to new teachers, and well, all teachers too. Experienced teachers can look at it and say, well, I agree with that, or I disagree with that, and I'm welcome to feedback, because obviously I feel like I'm also new. I've only got one experience, I've only got one life, and that's what I've learned. But if you can take all these other experiences from other teachers and add it to your own, wow, you're only going to grow. So even for myself, I think after I finish this series, I'm going to try and go to perhaps some orphanages or help out, do some charity work. I was in the Philippines, and I was fortunate enough to meet this person that worked with dogs and animals there, and she's an animal activist. And she suggested, well, Eric, you know what? You are a teacher, you want to talk about teaching, but you're in the safe environment. Why don't you go out where you can help the most needy students out there? Kids that grow up in difficult situations, they're the ones that need you the most. And I think if I go and do that, yeah, I'm going to do something nice. I'm going to do something nice that maybe makes me happy in the long run, and makes me feel like I'm a good person. I think I'm actually learning a lot from. I will learn a lot from the experience, and I will also be giving back. Something that I feel like I should do. I've lived this life of, well, solitude, not really, but I've lived this solitary life of just doing my own thing. And I reach out to the students that I teach, but I don't really feel like I'm working with students that might actually need some guidance and some help. Hi guys, please say hi so I know who's out there. I know it's just me talking and rambling on, but I'd really like to chat with you and hear how you're doing. Like I said before, I'll put out a post, and next week and each week after that, I'm going to address some questions that you might have. I've been very quiet on the channel because I've been on vacation and because I've been working at that camp. But after this, I'm going to put out some content that I hope that you'll like. Okay, now from the camp itself, yeah, it was an interesting experience. Bushra, how are you doing? Yeah, I'm very well. I've just finished my week of working, and I'm really happy to be back in my own place. How about you? How was your week? You started with a new class, I think. You started in you started with the new class, adult students, right? How's that been going? You said before that it's been going okay. I'm very interested to hear how your experience went. As for me at the camp, I had this. I met some other teachers, and immediately, I think what I tried to do is to learn from them, because you're thrown into this environment where you suddenly have to deal with new students, and you are just reaching out for any tips or techniques or advice that you can use. Obviously, I've got my own repertoire of like games and activities and teaching methods, but I feel like I can learn so much. And yeah, I think I improved a little bit and I learned some new things. Wow, that's excellent. So you're doing really well. Your students are taking to you. Do you have large classes? How many students do you have in your class? Also, um, I've had an experience this week. Um, oh, is the audio fine? Last week I used this mic, but there were some issues. Max 12, that's good. So you can actually, in a class of 12, you can actually, have personal relationships with them. Yeah, get to know their names immediately, and yeah, just build those relationships. Now, I noticed something very interesting, and I'm curious to hear from other teachers if they've had the same. So the previous camp, I had students, and I felt I had them for 2 weeks, and I felt at the end of the 2 weeks they were very calm, and I feel like they took on certain aspects of my personality while I'm teaching. I felt, we felt very close, but I felt, they took on certain characteristics of me, which is interesting. And this last week, the same thing happened. I had a class of 16 students, and some of them wild boys, some girls. The girls were really good. Some of the boys were nice. Some of the boys were a bit wilder. But at the end of the week, I noticed at Thursday or Friday, I started noticing that the students are calmer, and they seemed very familiar to me. And I asked one of the teachers about it, and they said, yeah, they kind of act like you do in a certain way. So my question is to teachers out there is, have you noticed something like that, where if you get close to your students and you teach them, do you feel, can you see a difference in them, how they start to change and behave more like you? Because yeah, I've noticed that. So if you bring a certain aura, a certain personality to the classroom, and it comes from a place of who you are, and you know what type of person you are, what you put out into the world, you're sure of yourself. The students are kind of drawn to that. And I'm not saying this because I think, wow, I did such a good job. Everybody, they're just automatically drawn to me. Yeah, I think that's exactly the word. They're role modeling. And it comes from a subconscious place, because I never, because I knew I only had them for a week. So I was very patient with them, and I was strict when I needed to be, but I gave them freedom, and more than I would if I had a class for a year. If I had a class for a year, I would have strict rules and things. But with this class, I was down to earth. I was calm. If something, I explained how I wanted things, and I think subconsciously the students started to role model that. And that's exactly what we want to do as teachers. We want to show the students how to behave and what we want from them. And that's a beautiful thing. But it's also, now that I think about it, I think the reason that is why you can see it so clearly is because I only had that group of students. Sometimes in other schools, the students move around for subjects, so they get to experience different teachers. But if you're in a room with a teacher, you're going to start role model their behavior and their characteristics. So yeah, we should definitely start helping our students with that. But it's not always great. I'd prefer the students have learn something from other teachers too. Nazar, Long time no see. How have you been? Yeah. Wow. How about you guys? How was your weekend? Did you have a good time? I was just saying I went ziplining today. It was really good. I had a really fun time. How about you? By the way, I said this before, but next week I'm going to start asking you guys what questions you have, what things you want to talk about, because I feel like right now it's just me talking about my experiences, but I'd really like to share your ideas and thoughts and stuff. Right. So what I was saying is you have to know yourself and you have to be strong. It's been a busy bit lately. Yeah, same. Very busy. Went traveling last week at camp, but for the next couple of weeks, I'm just gonna work really hard on some videos and content that I plan to put out for you guys. Yeah, but I think it's good to be busy, but you should also make time to relax and take care of, or what do they call it? Take care of the housework and just make sure that your life is organized. Yeah. So what I was trying to say is, I think students need different experiences from different teachers. For example, this is one thing is during the camp, they would go around and make videos of the students. And I found that, obviously they want to make videos of fun activities and fun times that the kids had. And I found that my kids had a lot of fun. But whenever the guy with the video camera was in class, the students would just be working and they would be talking. I was very lucky. Every time someone came into my class, the kids were busy with something and they were really well behaved. Whereas other times, I let them just, mess around with each other, but it really went well. But so when the video camera guy came into the room, there wasn't much to see. So when they edited the video, there weren't a lot of video of my students doing things. So if they had a more energetic teacher or a teacher that perhaps is more charismatic and funny, maybe that would translate into their personalities too, and they would role model a more upbeat type of personality instead of, usually when I'm in the classroom, it's funny, but it's also calm and stuff. Okay. Yeah. Now, time to tell you guys some good ideas that I picked up. The first one. The first one is that, so we started the camp and there are maybe 50 or 60 students and you're trying to get everyone's attention. And the one teacher went, and the students started. So she had this clap technique that the students have learned from a young age. She's never worked with them, but there's a group of 50 students and she wants to get their attention. Most teachers would be like, hey, hi, calm down. Everyone, attention, please. But she just went, and then she waited. If no one clapped, she tried it again. And then all the students would do it. So if you can start something like that in the class where the students, perhaps it's something they've learned when they were younger, or this clap method was amazing because you'd have these wild, elementary school kids busy with their own things and they just heard this clap and it's a rhythm that they're used to. Or you can do a different rhythm that they might be used to too. And then the students would be. And it was a really nice way to get their attention without having to shout, without having to wave your arms, without having to switch on the light, without having to use a horn. So I don't know if you can use it in your classroom, but I think it went really well. Yeah, guys, while I'm speaking, feel free to ask questions or to talk about your experience in the classroom. Yeah, it's just me ranting again for hopefully less than 30 minutes, for about 30 minutes. And yeah, I'm so glad to see your names. I know, it's difficult to say, building these relationships. I was saying before that, I don't have many teachers that I can actually work with and talk with. So it's really fun, seeing your names and seeing how you're doing. And yeah, the clap, like it sounds simple, but sometimes the most simple option is the best one. Yeah, it really worked well. Man, I would love to. Actually, I had one experience. So our camp leader, there was one activity we had to do. We had to build a rocket, and I asked our camp leader. He said, "Eric, well, everybody got a chance to take a period off." And I said, "Listen, could you help me with this class? I'd love to just watch you." And he came in, and obviously he's a very experienced teacher because he explained these things he's passionate about in a concrete way, and he gave knowledge to the students. And I mean, that is what a good teacher is. They provide value to the students. It could be the information that you have, it could be just your personality, you could have fun classes, but you've always got to provide value to the classes. What about you, Nazar? So you said I had to, like, you wish I could watch your classes. What do you feel are your strengths and weaknesses in the classroom? How about you? Let's see. What are you? Yeah, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Let's put this live chat. How about you, Bushra? What are your strengths and weaknesses in the classroom? Yeah, mine I would say is that recently I would say that I'm really good at creating relationships with the students. And then my weakness would be organization. It's something I really need to work on, but hopefully I can get to that. Okay, so the teacher came into the classroom, he taught the lesson, and he did very many things well. But obviously, you know, I think there are certain things I can immediately recognize. He was doing the lesson and he was providing great value and information, but he was going into too much depth. And that was a little bit too much for these young students to understand. And he continued and he wanted to do a video. TTT sometimes is one of them. Talking time, teacher talking time. Okay, so you feel like you'd like the students to do more talking in the classroom. Man, I feel you. I feel like when I first started teaching, I was so nervous of the class. I thought, okay, well, I need to stay in control. I mean, that's needs in the moment. That's so, Bushra. Actually, that's where I'm coming to with the story. But back to you, Nazar. Teacher talking time. When I first started out, I was so nervous that I'd lose control of the classroom that I'd just constantly be talking, be like, ma 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 ma. Ma, 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 ma. And at the end of the day, you can feel your throat getting sore. Yeah, Bushra, like I said, organization that's something we have to work on. And because as teachers, if you think of the best teacher you've probably ever had, it's someone with good organization, and they were just so good at organizing everything. Okay, so teacher talking time. Yeah, you've got to create that atmosphere in the classroom that you are going to ask them questions and you expect them to provide more talking time. I've done this a lot in my classes where whenever I talk, the students automatically know that I'm going to ask them a question. I'm going to ask them to actually do it for the class, you know. So there's no like, because they know I'm going to ask them, there's no like, I'm shy. I'm like, from the very first day, when you give rules, when you explain something, make a habit of asking the students. And you're going to pick them by name, because if you just say, can anyone tell me? They're not going to tell you. So unless they're, you know, some of the really enthusiastic kids. So start picking them. Go Paul, how you doing? Did you ever? We're just talking about teaching. We're talking about our strengths. What is your strength as a teacher? Now, Bushra, back to yours about being able to identify the students' needs, because that's a very important skill. So, 20/80 rule. Yeah, it takes off a load. You know, if they know that you're expecting them to talk more, it'll be better. Yeah, in my classes, I do that more and more too. You know, if I put a goal for myself, I'm like, listen, today I don't want to talk a lot. I need to start getting the students to talk more. And it doesn't have to start at 20/80. You can make it start at 50/50, then 40/60, and then, but you do have to speak up. You do need to provide information and value, but you got to start getting the students to respond more and being more active in the class. That will make them focus more, it will make them concentrate, and they will also feel like they're part of it. Now, back to your story of like identifying student needs. As teachers, we teach a lesson and we plan it and we expect it to go a certain way. But then perhaps it might be too high level, too low level. You might need to repeat some things to the students. And as a teacher, you should be able to monitor the students. You can do it through questions. You can just see it in their eyes if they're like focused or not. Now, with this teacher he explained everything really well, but then he tried to do too much. And I picked up that moment very quickly. I was like, okay, I think this is the best time to actually switch to another activity, right? I think this is one of the things as a teacher, you shouldn't be explaining 50% of the lesson and then expect the students to do another 50. You should break it down into chunks of activities because most students can't focus for that long. So you're going to have to break it down into different departments and different activities. So this teacher went on and he showed the video, and maybe 5 minutes later he realized, you know what? His teaching brain kicked in and he was like, okay, kids, I see you're not picking this up. And he moved on. And afterwards I spoke to him about it. I said, yeah, no, I really enjoyed the way you explained everything and you brought a lot of passion. But yeah, he could have just chunked down that part and then did an activity to make sure they understand and then move on to the next one. Yeah. Now, in this camp, we were expected to do a play. And if you haven't done this yet, but doing a play and organize takes a lot of organization. You have to get all the resources. You have to do the planning, the script. You have to pick the actors. You have to give them direction. You have to motivate them. You have to fix the mistakes that they make, and also you want to make it as smooth as possible, right? And it was such an interesting experience going through that with the students, getting them to do a play, that I think this is something that everybody should try and do in their classes. If you have a chance, if you do extramurals, I think especially if you can start practicing doing that in the class, getting students to role play, and then also trying to direct them a little bit more. If you have a chance, then try and do a play at school, even if it's a mini play, just to get that experience of doing it. Because for me, I started doing it, and I've done things like that in the past, but I thought, wow, there's a lot of work that goes into doing something like that. How about you guys? Have you ever felt out of place, a little bit out of your depth? For me, it was singing and plays and stuff. Even though I'm very interested in it, and I do a lot of work on body language and speaking in public, that's a little different from actually, getting a group of students to work together to learn the material and to do it in public. Yeah, so that's definitely something I'd be looking into. And finding songs to sing, I think it's very important to have some material and some video that you can do for that. Chat, hide all messages visible. Yeah, I think it's a scary thing, organizing a play, but I'm glad I did it. We did a play. We focused on Frozen, and we did a song, and it went well enough. But I think, yeah, you got to try it. Maybe not immediately. Once you're comfortable, once you find like a topic that you're interested in and that you think that can help the students, maybe try out just practicing for one. Because I was saying before, I'm very fortunate as a teacher. Fortunate that I don't have to do a lot of these extramurals. When I was teaching in South Africa, I had to do sports, I had to plan chess tournaments, I had to plan, well, I didn't do any plays, but a part of me was really afraid of doing that. I was scared of, because that's a lot of responsibility. But we've got to start searching for responsibility. We've got to start searching for opportunities to improve and to practice and to do something new. So that's why I feel like, yeah, I'm fortunate not doing all those extramurals. But also, if I missed out on that experience, if I was teaching in South Africa still, I'd have all these experiences of organizing and learning how to do things, and working with other people to build something bigger. Where I am now, I'm on my own most of the time. I'm just a teacher in a classroom. I don't have to worry about something else. But we got to start looking for opportunities to be leaders. And this brings me, I think I'm going to make this my final point. If you guys want to mention anything else, please do. I don't want to make this too long. I know your time is valuable and it's a Sunday night. So I'm so thankful that you guys, that you're here and I can talk with you. There's one thing. I read this quote by Seneca. It's a Greek guy from a long time ago, Roman Greek. And he basically said, if you don't see a leader, nominate yourself. Because at this camp, at certain points, I feel like there was a lack of leadership, and that was probably my chance to step up and assume a leadership role. And this is kind of weird because in my life, I've always shied away from leadership. I was a bit of a rebel. Like we would go on a leadership camp, but I would just blow it all off and go do something else, or they would expect things from us and I would rebel and say, no, I don't want to do this. If I took a leadership position with my friends, I would make a joke out of it. But leadership is a skill and we've got to practice it. Be it by looking up to mentors and taking those opportunities to practice being a leader. Because, yeah, you're not going to be great the first couple of times. You're going to make mistakes, but you're going to learn from them. And I think for myself too, be it at the university or doing anything, I should start trying to assume the position if there's no one there already, right? Because if you look at the most successful schools, they've got their principal, their vice principal, but usually you've got this leadership group of really professional, really experienced teachers that if something were to happen to those people, they are so in charge and they're so organized. And it's our responsibility to grow up and become those leaders. I don't know what you guys think about it, but I don't have many chances to be a leader where I am. So if something does come up, just say, yes, this is what I think we should do. What do you guys think? Right? Just like that. Because there are wrong ways of doing it. You can go in and you can say, this is how we do it, and this is what I think. You do this, you do this, you do that. But actually, we should go in with the mindset of there's a skill lacking in this group, and it is my duty to try and fill that role and help the group achieve their goal at the end. Yeah, guys, that's me for today. I usually, before I start these live streams, I think, oh man, I have to start a live stream. But then I start going and I see your names, and it really makes me happy. And then I just rant on about some things like that. Yeah, it's the only way we're going to grow, is by facing these difficult things, by going out into open water and unexplored territories. Yeah. So yeah, next week I will put out a post asking you for your questions and ideas. You can expect a lot more engagement and a video every Wednesday. I would say I'm going to make these my normal activity videos that I'm going to put out. And then also I'm going to be working on that series. Oh yeah, one more. We played a game. The same teacher that did the clap clap played another game. It's called musical chairs. Eric, I know musical chairs is where you play music and you take the chair away. Yes, but try this out. The students are sitting down, and then you say, all the boys stand up. All the boys stand up and they have to run around and find a new seat, and you take one seat away. Then you say, well, everyone with glasses, everybody wearing black, everyone who, drank milk for breakfast. You can make up any rules. And the fun thing is, if a student wins at the end of the round, they're the new one that has to make the rule. It's a really fun game, and you don't need music. All you need, chairs and students. It's a beautiful game. It will take some time getting used to it, but it was a lot of fun having the student. So you just make up these rules. You see the kids run up, and you just make the rule clear that they have to run around, then sit down, and you take away the chair. You can, if it's too quick and they grab a chair, you can say, okay, you have to run around twice, or you have to run forward and touch an object and then go back. It is really fun, and I wouldn't suggest it for all classes. It's just if you want to do something fun and you need to raise the energy level, that's a really fun one to do, because obviously they're playing a game, they're having fun, and they're also practicing listening if you're doing English, and it keeps them occupied for a good 20 minutes. Yeah, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you learned something from this. I'm very excited to get working tomorrow. You're going to see a different thing from other teachers without getting... Exactly. When I first started out, I was the same way. I was very insecure, and I was telling this teacher, I told her, listen, I'm going to talk about you in my live stream. She's like, what? What did I do wrong? I'm like, no, listen, I'm just looking for things to learn and steal from you. I'm not here to judge you. I'm here to learn. Nobody's perfect, but everybody has something unique and some interesting perspective to offer. Man, we've only got one life, but if you can take these experiences from other teachers, you're just going to learn faster and grow as an individual. There was something else that I wanted to say. It's okay. Guys, thank you so much, Bushra, for all your comments. Naza, good to see you. Hope things are going well. Guys, please think of anything you want to talk about for next week. I look forward to seeing you again. Have a fantastic week. The end of this week is actually Solal, or Lunar New Year in China and South Korea. They celebrate their New Year based on the lunar calendar. So a lot of teachers have vacation. So if you're one of those teachers, guys, Happy New Year. And for the rest of you, have a fantastic day. And I'll see you next time. Everyone, this is me, and signing off. Have a nice day.